Hey, this is Spencer West, and you're listening to Sid Wong.
So I'm here with the Spencer West. What an honor. How are you doing today?
I'm good. I apologize. I'm about to lose my voice, so I'm making it happen, you know?
Was the crowd that wild that made you kind of go crazy, I guess?
It was a little bit, yeah, and I'm also nursing a bit of a sore throat from yesterday, so it's a bit mix of the two.
I want to start off with what kind of inspires you to be a part of We Day and just helping all like these young kids today?
Yeah, so I don't know if people know this, but I'm a full-time employee with We, so I'm a motivational speaker for them. So my job is to speak at We Day and other events, and the overall goal is to empower people to get involved with something that they're passionate about. And so what I try to do is use myself as an example of these are the things that I've done. Now look at what you have in your life and what you can do to do the same thing.
Who kind of inspires you in the world to do all of this?
Yeah, I mean, I'm very similar to a lot of people. There's, all the heroes that we know, like Martin Luther King and Mother Teresa and those sorts of folks. But for me, more specifically, I like sort of the unsung heroes, all the 20,000 youth that are here today that don't always get the recognition that they deserve and that are working really hard to do lemonade stands and bake sales and car washes, and raising thousands and thousands of dollars for things that they care about. Those genuinely are the people that inspire me.
We all have rough days. Where do you kind of find the strength to get through those hard days?
Yeah, I mean, today's a perfect example of, health-wise, it's a bit of a struggle today. But, I've got some really great friends and support around me that, when it's difficult, I can lean on them and look to them for support or whatever that looks like. So for me, it's about having those people around you that you trust and that will support you when it's needed.
How was it interviewing Jacob on stage earlier?
Oh my gosh, so I'm obsessed with Jacob Tremblay. I think he's so cute. And last year at Toronto We Day, he interviewed me. So we've had sort of this cute exchange of interviewing each other. But I just love how lovely and polite and down to earth he is. Working with people like Julia Roberts and Owen Wilson, like those are big names. And yesterday when we did rehearsal, like they asked if we could change rehearsal time, and I was like, of course, because he wanted to finish school. I'm like, yeah, you need to finish school, bud. So like, I just love him.
What's the one thing you tell people to see life in a new light?
I think for me, the big thing that I try to help people understand is that challenges aren't necessarily a bad thing. And it's important for us to look at them as lessons to be learned. It's not always easy, and it's easy for me to say there's lots of challenges that I find difficult as well. But it's about taking that time to look at what was I supposed to learn from this, and then how can I take that lesson and teach that to other people as well. So I think that's a big one for me.
What was something that you kind of wanted someone to tell you when you were growing up?
Oh, two things. I think the first would be just relax. Everything's going to work out the way it's supposed to. I'm like a bit of a worrier and like a stress ball sometimes, so just relax, I think, would be nice. The other thing I think it would have been nice to know is, and I was probably told it but wasn't really listening, is this idea of you need to figure out your own path. Don't listen to society. Don't listen to what your high school says. Don't listen. We want to listen to our parents, but to a point, you have to decide what's right for you. And I wish I would have started to do that earlier in my life. Then I might have gotten to where I am a bit faster.
I want to talk about Kenya. Yeah. What was that huge epiphany there that made it so special?
Yeah, so a friend of mine invited me to go to Kenya because I was, just not really liking my life, and I was finding it really difficult working in corporate America in the United States and wanting a job that paid well but also made the world a better place. So buddy invited me to Kenya, and I was not only so inspired by the work that we was doing, but we got the opportunity to visit one of the schools that had already been finished. And literally all these kids came out, and they wanted to hear my story. So I told them a bit about how I lost my legs, and they asked me like a million questions. And afterwards, a young girl said to me that she didn't know something like this, meaning the loss of my legs, could also happen to white people too. And for me, that phrase put my life into perspective and help me recognize, and I can only assume because I didn't get to talk to her after, or it's been 10 years now, but I can only assume what she meant was like, wow, people from North America also have challenges, and so it's not just folks in other parts of the world.
You also did Mount Kilimanjaro, which was insane. How was that entire experience?
Yeah, you know what? It was 8 days that I wouldn't trade for anything, and it's 8 days I don't ever want to do again. It was awesome. I was really grateful. My two buddies said that they would come with me and do it. And the first half I needed their help because it was a lot physically harder than we thought it was going to be. And then when we got towards the top, the roles were reversed, and my buddies got altitude sickness, and I didn't. And suddenly they needed my help. So it was this beautiful exchange of helping each other and how important it is for us to recognize that we all have the ability to help in some way.
How does it feel being like only part of the half that only get to the top?
Yeah, at the time, you're like, even though I didn't get sick, you're still miserable. It's cold, it's windy, so you don't think about that stuff. You're like, I just want to like take our photo and leave. Um, but then when you come back down and you start to remember the statistics of 50% don't make it, you're like, wow, I feel really grateful that we were able to make it to the top. But we didn't do it alone. We had a great crew, and we had my buddies and vice versa. So we didn't do it alone. So we're really proud of what we did.
I watched the establishing shot where you guys were like tripping and doing like your, oh, this is this person who's going on the trip with me, this person. I like how you guys made it really fun.
Yeah. It was important because I think people, when they look at changing the world, like, oh, it looks so hard, and to an extent it can be, for sure. But for me, it was important to be like, I'm doing this with my two best friends who I love spending time with, and they're so fun, and each of my friends brings a different dynamic to our relationship, and I just wanted people to see that and realize that like you can have fun at the same time.
I know you love superheroes. Marvel or DC?
It's a tough one. So if we're talking movies, right now I love Marvel more. However, Wonder Woman was incredible, so I think that was super helpful for DC. Um, but growing up as a kid, I was more of a DC kid. I loved Superman. I loved Batman. Those are sort of my favorite. But genuinely, I just like the idea of superheroes because they're always faced with some sort of challenge, and they're using the gifts that they've been given to overcome those. And so I think that's what I love most about them, is that sure, these may be superhuman gifts, but at its core, for me, I feel like, oh, okay, well, if they can do that, I'm sure I can do some of those things too. Not fly, obviously, which would be nice, but yeah.
Do you feel like a superhero yourself?
Do I feel like a superhero myself? That's a good question. It just depends. Some days, yeah, we're like, we really did that today, or some days we're like, we've got so much more work to do. I don't really like to think of myself in those terms. For me, at the end of the day, it's really important to know that I just did everything that I could in that day to give back in some way. So I wouldn't necessarily look at it as a being a superhero in that regard.
So you've been a part of We Day for a while now, almost 10 years.
Yeah.
What emotions kind of run through you knowing that you're constantly changing so many lives?
I mean, I think collectively, it's not just me. We have an incredible team at We Day, and there's all these incredible speakers and musicians on stage as well. And I'm just really proud and really humbled to be considered in that group and to be a part of it. Because at the end of the day, it's the students that are doing the work, and so we hope that they feel honored and celebrated.
Do you see yourself in like 25 years still doing all of this?
I mean, we'll see. At this point, I've learned not to plan too much and to just let it happen as it goes. So I'm sure I'll be giving back in some way. I don't know what that looks like in 20 years from now, but I hope so.
You used to cheerlead. Do you still cheerlead for fun or for like any special occasions?
There comes a certain point when you get a bit older where you can't always do the things that you wish you could do. So I haven't tried a cartwheel in a while. I have been going to the gym, but I haven't tried a cartwheel in a while. So no, I don't normally. I haven't done cheerleading in a long time now.
Was he a friend that you used to cheerlead with?
No, so this is my friend Jake, who I travel with, and I knew he was gonna laugh about me talking about my age or something. So
I was cheerleading. I feel like you cheerlead every time something good happens in the office.
oh, that's true. That's true. Just not with a cartwheel, just other ways.
So what is it like sharing the stage with all of these legends as well, like Dalai Lama and like Rick Hansen?
I mean, that's one of the things that I've been so grateful for with We Day, is getting to meet some of these world's leaders and heroes who, have paved the way for a lot of folks. Martin Sheen is here today, and he's one of my favorite people in the entire world, not only because he's so humble and so lovely, but also, he's this well-known actor, but he's been arrested 60 times for protesting. And we were just talking earlier, Grace and Frankie, which is one of my favorite shows on Netflix. Martin is an incredible actor, and he's an ally for the gay community in playing a gay character on Netflix, at 70 years old. And activism, and he always says this, and this is not my line, this is his. He always says acting is what he does for a living, and activism what he does to stay alive. And to get to know these people and be in their company is just very humbling.
You've given a lot of great advice. I want to ask one last question. Anything to add on about We Day as a whole?
I just want to say thank you to all the folks that work so hard every day, not only to put on We Day, but and our staff, but also, the students out there, the 20,000 that are here today that work so hard to make the world better.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for talking to me.
My pleasure.
It means a lot.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.